know. Good to know.
Okay. As I was saying, calling to order the EDC regular monthly meeting, June 6, 2024. Our agenda is, after we welcome our new member and have citizen comments, we have 3 items under new business: and marketing update from Jess Kirby, her first period of working on the marketing project. She'll give us a quick update. And then we'll talk about the principles for the website upgrade, which we've all talked about the need for, and we'll begin that process talking about what principles we want to achieve. And then 1 item of old business updates from any of the tourism working groups who have an update to provide. Are there any additions or deletions to that agenda? Hearing none, I'm going to switch items 3 and 4 and start by welcoming Dan Pierce, who is our new member. We're now at full strength with 9 members, which is the first time in about 12 months or 9. Anyway, welcome. Dan, give us your 1-minute summary of who you are. Your bio's in the pack, but I thought you could.
Sure. Assuming that you all read the bio, I'll try not to be redundant, but let me first say that I'm very happy to be a part of this group. I'm a relative newcomer to town, but I've been visiting for a long time, and my wife actually has been visiting since she was a child, and I didn't know it was her secret mission to get us to move here. But we discovered that during COVID when I was looking on our browser and I could see SnyderDonegan.com on her history. So we moved here since October, but you know, as I've said, I've wanted to be here for a long time, so I'm happy to be a part of this group. Not wanting to repeat my resume, but I do think it's worth noting that when I met John for coffee to learn about this group and to see if I might be able to provide any value, excuse me, I saw a lot of overlap with my career. I have a 20+ year career in brand management and marketing for consumer packaged goods like Gatorade, Starbucks, but also in retail, most recently with TJ Maxx. But I've actually did a career pivot a couple of years ago, and I work for a nonprofit. And so interestingly, the other skills that I've gained over the past couple of years have to do with childcare, affordable housing, early childhood education. So things that are very much relevant to what we're doing. So I say all that because I'm happy to be a part of the group, and I hope that I can help move the agenda forward.
Fantastic. So welcome. It's great to have you.
Welcome, Dan. Awesome.
So now citizen comments, and as I said, I'll repeat myself, it was pre-recording. If there are any comments that don't relate to the agenda, please make them now. I think we'll have time for folks to comment during the discussion of our agenda items. Are there any citizen comments not related to the agenda? No? All right, hearing none. I have one, which is, and I think there are enough so that I can do this for citizens and EDC members and non-EDC members. We have been given invitations to the Woodstock History Center event, the Wonder Room, their new exhibit, which we helped to fund. And Matt asked me to make these available to all of you. I think I don't know that you need them to get in, but they are to remind you of the event. I'm going to leave the pile here for those of you that are here. And actually, if I leave it here, for those of you that aren't here, from what I can tell, this room is never cleaned up. So they will be here until the end of time. So if you'd like them, they're these little blue cards, and they're sitting on the table right here. All right. So no other citizen comments? Okay, Jess, I know that you had wanted to go early on the agenda. This is as early as it gets. So would you like to give us your update? And if you want, I can share the PowerPoint document that you wanted, or you can.
Yeah, thanks, John. Whatever's easier. I didn't really make any meaningful changes. So if you want to just scroll through what you have, that's fine. And I'll just read from on my computer. It's probably easier.
Okay, so just let me know when you want me to switch.
Okay, so I will, I'm going to make this smaller so I can see both. I'll keep it brief. Thank you for letting me go earlier. I have a toddler home sick, so it's been a long week. Things are going really well. I just kind of wanted to give an update on what we're doing and what we've noticed in the last month, which has gone by really quickly. So for driving business in June and July, we've been focusing all our content on early summer events and things to do. And that's on the blog, on social, on the website as well. We've done posts on things to do during the spring. We just wrote a post on all the outdoor music that's happening throughout the summer season, and we've got some other content coming up for things to do during the summer, where to eat outside in Woodstock, things like that, kind of to just help people navigate what to do while they're here. I was also the contributing editor for the May 30th edition
Sorry.
of The View from Here, for people that saw that. And that was just kind of a breakdown of everything that's happening basically through the fall, from now through the fall. And then I've also been attending almost every local event I can, just keeping content fresh on the site and on social media, posting in real time, and making sure that social is up to date with what's going on in town. You can go to the next slide, sorry. So in terms of the events calendar, that was a big priority. We've been keeping that up to date regularly. That's really been the primary theme for our emails and social media, is just events that are happening in town. And then for community focused events, we've been posting to the listserv, and there's a couple kind of local WhatsApp threads that I've been posting to as well, just reminding people of what's going on in town. As I mentioned, I've been posting in real time at local events. We were at Pride, we were at the Covered Bridges Half Marathon, Market on the Green, the sidewalk sale. I've also been posting a weekly event schedule on Instagram, just to kind of give people an idea of what's happening during that week. And there's a new events highlight on Instagram as well, so people can kind of see what's happening in town. And then also highlighting any local retail and lodging deals. You can go to the next slides, and these are just a couple of snippets of the content that we've been sharing on Instagram. Pride of Woodstock did really well, which was nice to see. So I just wanted to dive into some of the things we've noticed about woodstockvt.com, how people are getting there and what they're looking at. Organic search accounts for 66% of traffic to woodstockvt.com, and that's over the last 12 months. I also looked at the year before that, and it was pretty similar. It hasn't changed much. And basically what that means is most people are finding our website through Google search, which is a good thing. That's what we want. And because we are woodstockvt.com, we're kind of seen as an authority site. Google has done, I'm not going to get into the jargon of it, but Google has done a lot of updates around SEO. But the good news is that our ranking is strong for all the keywords that people would be searching for Woodstock. There were 19,000 users on the site in May. That was up 55% from April. 65% of users view it on mobile, 35% on their desktop. That's not surprising. That's pretty industry standard. That's actually pretty high, I think, for desktop. You can go to the next slide. So just a kind of an overview of where our traffic is coming from and where it's come from over the last 12 months on Woodstock VT. Organic search, again, is the primary driver, followed by direct search. So that means people typing in woodstockvt.com. Then it's organic social. So that's people coming to our site from Instagram and Facebook. That's organic, so that's not paid. Referral is after that, which is being linked from other sites. Our emails are after that with 10,000 users. And then paid ads, which we're not doing anymore. I think that was something that Class 4 did, is a pretty low number. And then other is just some small other random things. But essentially the point is the majority of our traffic is coming from Google search and people typing in our website. And that's a good thing. The next slide is just, again, another kind of shows you what where our traffic is coming from. And then this is just a quick snapshot of the users on the site by age. It's fairly evenly split across the board.
Just how does this compare to the internet? Like the average,
That's a good question. I don't know.
I guess. All right, I'm just
I-
interested if our audience is skewed or not.
The internet.
I think it just depends on the website, I think it depends on, I think it varies, depending on the content. I mean, I'll be honest, I was surprised that the second highest user group was 25 to 34,
Yeah,
which is interesting.
An opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it also kind of speaks to the fact that that's a group that's also like the most online. But I think there's a big opportunity there as well. So, in terms of just the objectives that that I'm kind of focusing on right now, and that we discussed, when I took on, this position, we've done a lot of work to keep the events calendar up to date. We've added 70 events so far. You can't tell because you can only, the way the calendar's set up now, you can only see until like August or something. And I don't think there's any way to change that, but I could be wrong. Making sure that the content on the site is seasonally appropriate, removing or updating outdated information. There's a lot of it, so that's just going to take time. But I'm focusing on going through the most popular content and then like moving down the list. So things that people are landing on first and then going backwards from there. Creating an image and video library. We've already been able to capture a lot of content because a lot of things have happened in the last couple of weeks. So that's been great. Fixing broken links. There's a lot of broken links on the site, which I think most of them are resolved because a lot of it had to do with an old blog link to the blog landing page. So I think that's been fixed. And then improving the site health score. It's Ahrefs, which is a kind of an SEO keyword tool that I use, ranks Woodstock VT a 16, which is very low. So I've kind of been going through and trying to do things to improve the site health score, but some of that just has to do with the structure and the layout of the website, which I can't change. Which leads me to how a new website will add value and ease for our users. I think it's no secret that I have argued that I think we need a new website. It's clear that woodstockvt.com is our biggest media asset. I mean, we're getting almost all of our traffic organically and through direct search. So we can do all these other things, but at the end of the day, people are finding us, and that's really good news because people are already coming. But then it's like, what happens when they get there? And so I feel that a site built on WordPress will be less expensive in the long run and provide us with key things that we need for a better user experience, which is better search and filter functionality, to keep people on the site longer, more effective and consistent SEO structure. I will say that like a lot of the SEO rankings that we have now is just luck and the fact that we're an authority site. There is not a lot of back end work that is good in terms of SEO rankings. It's because we're woodstockvt.com and we're the authority site and we've been around a while. We could do a lot to improve and rank for more keywords. WordPress also allows for on-demand changes to layout and design. It's easy to do, very inexpensive or even free. A user-friendly format for an events calendar and a lower monthly maintenance fee than Drupal. I could go on about why I feel strongly about WordPress over Drupal, but I know that's not the discussion for right now, but I don't know if there's time for questions. Happy to answer any if I can, but I hope that gave a kind of a brief overview of what we've been working on and where we're headed.
Great. Thank you very much. I do want to emphasize that that for tonight, that we're not really prepared for a substantive discussion about. You'll see in a minute, we're going to be talking about principles at an even higher level, pretty vague. And we're
Okay.
going to then delegate to the marketing group to have these discussions and to work out the details and to keep us informed and ultimately to come back to us with recommendations. So I know we're all anxious, or some of us are anxious to dive into the why the particular aspect of the site is good or bad, but this,
Fair enough.
yeah, we're going to let the no, I mean, Jess, it's fine for you to, and you'll see that Jennifer has a similar set of, suggestions that you saw in there. All right. So are there any questions for Jess?
I have,
Deborah?
yeah. These stats were really interesting on this month, and I'm wondering, and it's like you said, it's a great opportunity for that 25 to 34. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That group?
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, I'd love to keep an eye on it over the next month or two, because I'm wondering if that had something to do with Pride, because that was probably the most.
Was it month or year? The rest of the stats were a year.
So yeah, so
Covered
those
in that
statistics are over 12 months.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was last month. Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah, sorry, that was a little bit confusing. So I gave us one statistic about last month, and that was just that there was 19,000 users, which was up 50% from the month before, but
Yeah.
all the other statistics are over 12 months.
Wow. And there's just lots of opportunity. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. Thank you for explaining. That's really exciting.
Other questions or comments, Marion?
Just, for further discussions in the future, if you haven't already, I'd be really interested. You pointed out that we have a lot of traffic. What happens when they get there? And, if you haven't looked at it for this future reporting, sort of what the path is where people go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all that, and I kind of didn't do it because I didn't want to be here. I know that I didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, I can send it around, or we can discuss that. I know we can't do it now, but I do have that information.
And in fact, you sent it to me. I didn't include it in the,
Okay.
I thought you didn't mean to present it because it'll take double the time and all that. But I'm happy, well, why don't you do it, Jess? Why don't you distribute whatever you think is relevant to the EDC members?
Okay.
But there's a
Okay,
next
great.
level
Yeah.
report. So, any other questions? Greta?
I just wanted to really quick fill in the information, just because Jess did the information that she had shared with John and I, but didn't include in this, is basically that most people are getting to the landing page and then going to things to do in events. I think that's important. And so that's why, Jess is spending all this valuable time, like really updating those important pages.
Yeah, those are the top two.
All right, anything else?
Just a quick comment that 25 and 34 is interesting. In my old line of work, we used to call that pipeline. It's nice to have that number be really healthy
Mhm.
for the future,
Right.
future
And-
tourism. So that's an interesting number.
That's another reason why we need a refresh website, because that's a very media tech savvy generation that is
Yeah.
going to expect a lot and more than what we're offering right now. Stating the
Jessica,
obvious, I know.
You're doing a
but
great job. That's wonderful.
Thank
Applaud.
you.
Okay. Jess, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I
Thank
know that
you.
you have kids to deal with, so you can, if you need to drop off, that's fine. All
Okay,
right.
I'll try.
Greta and I, and Jennifer, Vincent, and Beth met informally to begin the prelude to beginning the process of looking at a website upgrade. And as I said, what I think the process should be is that we, the EDC, should delegate to the marketing group, which is equally shared by the chamber and by the EDC. And legally, by the way, or technically, remember that the website itself, or the URL more precisely, is owned jointly 50-50 with the chamber. And our agreement actually says that the only things we can do to the website are things that we both agree on. And so, the website is very important to the chamber and to the chamber members. It's also very important to the EDC. We spend a fair bit of money on it and so forth. And so what I'd like us to do tonight is to look at one page that Beth and I mean, sorry, that Greta and I shared with Beth and Jennifer. Sorry, I'm skipping over. Jennifer did something. Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm going to do it here. I got the sequence wrong. So what we'd like to do is just share one page, which is a really simple statement, and you'll see that it's at a higher level than what Jess is talking about. We don't talk about demographics or click-throughs or pages. It's just a set of principles about what we think the EDC wants to achieve. And we're not making, this is not what the marketing, this is not taking into account, this is what we want, right? And I think we should start out by saying, this is what we'd like to get. I think we can get what we want and give what we think the chamber might want, but the chamber is going to say what it wants. And we're not going to debate that tonight. We're going to delegate that to the marketing group. They're going to kind of work it out if they can, and then come back to us. And I think, so here, so I'd just like to share the principles. Greta, is that okay? Do you want to add anything to that before we show them the principles?
No, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, so if I'm lucky, the principles will appear. Okay. So this is just one, it's just on one page. The overall objective, I just want to focus on that, is to significantly increase the value we deliver to users, the people who come to the site. Could be residents, could be visitors. I think right now it's mostly visitors, but to significantly increase the value that they get by coming to the site, at the same time as we increase the value that the website delivers to chamber members. So a win-win, that's what we're looking for. I think we in the chamber agree on that because we both win. Now, how do we do that? So here are the things that we said in 4 areas we would like to achieve. First, in terms of policies, and this is where creativity and figuring out how we do things with the chamber is going to be critical. 3 specific policies. The first one is to eliminate all restrictions that give content preference to chamber members. In other words, if there's an event that a non-chamber member is having, it gets to go on the website. If there's a blog about a fantastic restaurant that's not a chamber member, it gets to go on the website. By the way, that's not to disadvantage any chamber. Obviously, if there's a chamber member that has a restaurant, then, let's write a blog about them too. But we're going to make the content as good as it can be, irrespective, what we'd like, irrespective of whether the content is about a chamber member or not. It might be that change hurts the chamber. It's not clear to me that it will, because I think the increase in the people who come to the website is going to offset that. But to be fair, it could hurt the chamber. They're losing, if that were to be implemented, they would be losing an exclusivity that chamber members have now.
I don't understand that, John.
Oh, sorry.
Revenue. Revenue.
Well, revenue if it affected the number of chamber members. Right. I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, correct. No, correct. Right. Yeah.
I don't understand that, John. I mean, it seems to me. Okay, now.
Well, if you're going to argue for what the impact will be, just hold off for a minute. I just want to.
I would just. Well, maybe I.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm not trying to microphone.
I mean, if the chamber members are going to get equal time and equal, how's it going to hurt them?
Because right now they have exclusive
exclusive rights. Yeah, but I mean,
we can't.
The idea of having exclusive rights doesn't benefit anybody.
Well, fair enough. You can have the point of view, and the chamber can have a point of view, and so forth. That's what the marketing group is going to be debating. But the real point here is that if you thought the first point was negative for the chamber, the second and third points we're trying to add to be positive to the chamber. And frankly, it's positive to the chamber without really hurting the users. So we're trying to find a way. We're 50-50 partners. I mean, we're trying to find a way that it's a win-win. So the second and third policies, which would also be changes, would be to create new user access preferences for chamber members. Give the chamber members exclusive access to, for example, our email list. Now, not to spam them every day with some controls, because that's not in anyone's interest, but it doesn't hurt the user experience on the website if from time to time the chamber puts out a, this quarter in Woodstock come see these things. And everything on that list was a chamber member. You know, it seems like we can thread that needle and give the chamber and the chamber members access preferences that give them value. And the same thing would be true for advertising. Right now, there's very little advertising or no advertising on the website. Every blog that I've seen has advertising embedded in it. Why not make that advertising exclusive to chamber members or free for chamber members? And, you know, the chamber, gets that revenue anyway. So the idea in number one is to have it be to the chamber value neutral or value positive, that it's not a negative, because we're asking a 50-50 partner. We can't say to them, by the way, our principle is to have you have less value. And so that's the first point. The rest of them are not about the calculation of value at how we split it. They're really, I think, I don't want to say, Beth, I don't want to speak for you now, but I think we're, loosely in agreement on the rest of this, and a few other things that Jennifer will add, I'll share with you in a second, that we just need to do them. And so, and Jess mentioned some of these. So in terms of website hosting, okay, we need to have a debate. And we don't need to endorse this one, because the expense of a hosting platform needs to be analyzed and so forth. I would actually, Greta, I don't know if you're okay. This is a hot button of mine. I think we should be moving to that, but I think we should let the marketing team do a Drupal versus WordPress analysis and try to come up with their answer. Moving to industry standard software. These are.
But the hosting is paid for by the chamber.
Correct. Yeah. The actual hosting.
I want to be clear about.
Yes. Right. Right. But presumably
you're paying for the plugins for the.
Right. And for Jazz.
The monthly maintenance fee to Origin for the maintenance of the website,
Correct.
which is $600 a month.
But that's not the hosting.
Right.
Correct.
The chamber does pay for a small. I mean, how much is the hosting fee? It's
$100 a month.
right. So the chamber is paying $1,200.
Yeah.
And we're paying 50. We're paying 52,000, 58,000.
Because you've chosen to hire a person.
Yes.
Right. But that.
Well, we pay the $600.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. This is this is not the forum for resolving these issues, but you can begin to see, we have a partnership and we can have slightly different objectives.
And are you looking for comments or?
No, I'm looking for comments on the principles of when I finish them, on the principles of what we're asking for. So the principles you said, look, is there's some value principles, eliminate the restrictions, but give the chamber members other ways of getting value. In terms of website hosting, well, let me just say, these are the principles. Move on to a less expensive hosting platform, and also one that is industry standard, that allows us to not just pay for the hosting inexpensively, but operate the site inexpensively. We're paying for the operation of the site. We're not paying for the hosting. But it doesn't really matter who's paying for it. I mean, if we can reduce the hosting costs, then the chamber can benefit from that. The third is website functionality and design. A major point about industry standard format, an events calendar that kind of is more familiar to everyone. There may be some other functionality and so forth. And then what I'll call website operations or back office, improve the back office hygiene, broken links, and so forth. So what I would like the EDC to discuss, and ideally to agree on today, is to say, look, we'd like to give Greta and the marketing committee this page that says, look, this is what we'd like to achieve. Now, you see if you can agree to that, if the chamber can agree to that, or if not, then what would they like, and what should we, negotiate or discuss and try to come to agreement, and then work out how to achieve that. What platform? What did we mean by access? All the details, and come back to the EDC with a recommendation for how to upgrade the website and what it would cost. So that's what I would like to discuss, Joe, and you're welcome to go first. I don't want to debate the whether or not.
John, I'm going to be characteristically silent.
All right, no, but feel free to jump in a moment. All right.
Oh,
So Greta first, do you want to add anything to that?
No.
Okay. All right, comments, thoughts?
well, I'm comments that I'm very supportive of that first policy. I mean, I think opening up like that just benefits everybody, chamber or not chamber members.
Okay.
You know, essentially restricting it to chamber members. Well, to me, that's like saying I want to be the only restaurant in town. You know, that doesn't benefit anybody.
You are.
That we have. Anyway, you know, I mean, I think that's genius, putting, you know, that first elimination of all restrictions in chamber members. I think it's excellent, and we are chamber members, so, you know, I still support that. It's very, very well done.
And,
All right, Todd? Thank you.
Yeah, hi. So, as the same time I'm getting, emails from a new platform to compete with listserv, getting spammed into my box, which I, as a 47-year-old man, somehow love the 100-year-old listserv. There's nothing stopping someone else or another group or another restaurateur or anybody to make a website for very little money that is far superior to ours and overtake the entire thing. So I think that we really need to take this serious. And I think that, potential for back and forth on minute issues should be considering heavily the fact that the website is so non-functional and bloated with things that no one cares about in key demo, both function and like action items out of it, that we risk just wasting our time with this because something will replace it that we have no control over. So I think that with what we've done with Jess, and to speak to Beth's point that we hired Jess, we hired Jess, and Jess is going to do a great job to increase the benefit for the town as a whole, which increases the benefit for the chamber members, of course. We want everyone to be successful, but I think we really need to get on this quickly and not get in the weeds on little things, for the reasons I just stated. Like it's not a lot. You can build a new website for nothing, right? And that has everything. And whatever platform you use, we should use a less expensive one. We're looking into cost cutting. And so I just think we really need to put the fire under this and dig the heels in and come to a conclusion with the chamber that works for everybody, but not get into the minutia so much that we get held back.
Greta?
I just wanted to maybe explain a little bit more about the restriction and why it would be a preference to the chamber members. It's not necessarily about benefiting the chamber members, whether or not they have exclusive access, because I think they would all agree the better content, the better, that would be best for everyone. But at the same time, this has been a really great way of driving membership for the chamber, and the chamber is our partner here. And so if we are going to have them agree to eliminate that restriction, then we need to get creative with how we're giving the chamber other benefits that is going to continue to retain their membership or grow the membership. So if anyone has creative ideas about that, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, and I'd like to emphasize that point as well. Whether, this is, I can't say it any better than that, but it's really important.
I can't find the hand raise thing, but can I just say?
Yeah.
I know this is redundant, but like a new website is going to benefit chamber members. Because right now, like if you look at the analytics, it's not really benefiting anyone the way the website is set up. Like you can just look at how people are getting to the site, what they're looking at, and how long they're there. It's not really doing what it should be for the chamber members or the people that are using the site. If we have something that functions better, it will benefit everyone. And it will, there's so much opportunity and possibility. And to Todd's point, like somebody could just come in and create a better website. And it doesn't really work like that because SEO takes a long time to rank for, but you can even look at other sites that are ranking for keywords that we should be ranking for. People are just going to keep catching up with us because it's just so outdated and not functioning the way it should be. So I would argue that a new website will do a lot more for the chamber than the current website is doing.
Deborah and then Marianne.
Two things. One is a question, one is a a consideration. Agreement with, Jess and Todd. I do think that I think that what may happen is that they're gonna get more chamber members because you're gonna have more people starting to get involved with the website, seeing the benefit of the advertising. And I think there's gonna be an increase in chamber members because of it. And I just want to be clear on the process right now. And again, in a way to maybe potentially put a vote in here to keep us from getting in the weeds, which is that we're in agreement that these are what we're looking for the marketing group to come to agreement. And if they can come to an agreement, then we push it forward without having to wait a month to do a formal vote. It's that,
No. Sorry.
yeah,
No, where this process is heading
yeah,
is a proposal at the end of the process where the marketing group, the chamber and the EDC come to the EDC, Greta and whoever else, Marion,
right,
come to the full EDC and say, here is what we jointly recommend we do to the website. Here's what it will cost us. Here's the platform we should use. Here are the specific policies we should have. And here's the
Okay.
hosting platform and so
Okay.
forth. What I'm asking for tonight is the negotiating instructions that we give to the EDC members on that group. Right now, this is the Greta and I wrote this.
right.
So I'm proposing we decide tonight is to say, and we're just being very open. I mean, we already shared this with the chamber. We said, look, this is just me and Greta. We'll bring it to the whole EDC,
Right.
just so you know what we want. And by the way, Jennifer Vincent has put together a list of, which is in the pack. I'll share it with you briefly, which isn't specifically the chamber's perspective, but it's sort of partially the chamber's perspective, and it doesn't match entirely with this. And so we're
Okay.
just being very transparent. So all I'm proposing we do tonight is to either change this or confirm it and say, okay, Greta and Marion, go to work with this and see what we
Okay.
can. So
And
the
we
real
haven't
vote,
gotten-
if you will be for what we actually do, will come back to us.
Okay,
One
so-
second, Deborah and
So we can't do that yet until we see Jennifer's to put them together and make a decision on that.
Jennifer doesn't have a role in saying what the EDC wants.
No, but from our partner,
We can't,
The chamber board does, and that's
Yes.
the only piece I wanted to add. I don't have a comment about
Yes.
anything. But the process. So as the marketing committee comes to the EDC, it also has to go before the chamber board.
absolutely,
And then the boards have to come together.
correct. But the it that they're going to come together on is not a page like this. The it they're going to come together on is going to be platform, WordPress, or platform Drupal, $15,000 budget, timetable, email policies for access from chamber members. It's all that. And that's going to have to be jointly agreed to. And that will be some number of months from now.
so, okay. So what are you asking from us tonight? You're asking.
I'm asking us to say, we need to give, we're delegating
Yeah.
to Greta and Marion to do something,
Mhm.
to achieve something. I'm suggesting that we give the two of them this piece of paper and say, try to achieve that. And I'm asking for your approval for the instructions we give to them. They may not be able to achieve it. They will try to achieve it, and the way they achieve it will have to do with the details of what platforms they choose and all that stuff. I'm asking you to approve these instructions. We're being very transparent. There's no need to hide this from the chamber. I mean,
No, I'm
Right.
just curious what,
That's why I'm asking that we
Other-
vote on this page, and if we agree, we hand it to Greta and Marion and say, okay, you work with this, see what you can do. Does that make sense?
yes, and I like this page. I'm curious as to what the needs are on the other side, because I feel like that should be part of the page as well.
This page is an EDC page. It's important that it not be part of this page. This is
Okay.
not an agreement, you see.
Oh, I know it's not an agreement, but I mean, we're sitting here together. We might as well come up with.
No. We're delegating that process of bringing those things together. I'm proposing we not do it here and that we delegate it. Maybe I'm not,
Yeah, we're
You would
going
like-
like this.
okay.
No, I do not want us to do that. I think that should be delegated. I'm just curious. I feel like there might be some bullet points to add to the list for them to work out
Okay,
that we're not seeing here that
What would you
that are
suggest?
part of what Jen or the chamber is saying, that like we have a collective list for them
What
to.
bullet points are you suggesting?
I don't know. That's why I
But
wanted to
she's
see.
asking points that the chamber would be in favor of.
Right. And again, I'm not asking for debate about that. I'm saying here are our, what we're looking at, and here's what they're looking at, and you guys go figure it out and let us know.
Right.
I'm gonna make some comments.
Yes, before we get to the inclusion of theirs, let's first get clear about what we want, if that's okay. So Marion, what would you like to?
So first, I just want to be totally transparent, like Greta has done all the work and I haven't been helping her. I appreciate being a part of the committee and I plan to help her, but I just want to get it out there. I don't want to take false credit. She's done all the work to this point. But what I was going to say is in terms of the overall objectives, I'd like to consider saying, like, what we're saying, the overall objective is to increase the value we deliver to users and at the same time, the value to the chamber. But I would add a third party, which is our local economy. The value of the website to our local economy.
Oh.
And so the value of the website to users, to the chamber and to the local economy as a whole. I think that, I mean, at least I'd like to talk about that as a possible, like, overall.
I think, well, let's deal with this like legislation. Greta, you and I were the drafters of the legislation. Are you willing to accept that modification? I am.
Yeah, and I think when we had our first informal meeting with Beth and Jennifer, you kind of mentioned something along those lines, saying that, you know, for the chamber, their big priority is membership. And Beth, you can add to that if you'd like, but for the EDC, our big priority is economic development of Woodstock. So I would say that is a very good thing to add.
Okay, accepted. What's your next?
Yeah,
What's your next?
check the box.
What is it called? Amendment. Next amendment.
So the next one is just a question about website policies. And I think, you know, some of us know what you're talking about when you say eliminate restrictions. And I know we have a new member, so just, I don't know if that was clear to you that.
I think I'm following, but
You're
thank
following,
you.
okay.
Yes.
But that, you know, one of the issues that many of us have felt is we've been doing a lot of work to drive traffic to a website. But then when people get there, only some of the businesses are there, which makes sense from a chamber perspective. But if you're a tourist looking for something that may not be there, that's a concern. So, but what I would rather do is just open it up, because I don't know, I mean, maybe this is what you meant, but just sort of like, let's make it a priority to figure out a way to create value. And I don't know if that's user access preferences. I mean, I would.
In other words, don't limit it to these 3 points.
Exactly. I wouldn't
Okay.
limit it to those points. I think that would be.
Well, yeah, I think it's that point is implicit in the overall objective.
Yep.
But we could add a 4th bullet point or some other way.
I feel like we
Yeah.
don't have here a good enough solution, but
Right, I think,
come up with.
fine. So how about if we add a 4th point that said, or any other approach that helps achieve the overall objective?
Yeah.
I think the
Sounds
reason
good.
why this was here is because to show that there are in fact tangible things.
Yep.
We've checked with Jess that we can do.
For example, advertising, for example, access to.
Right, exactly. So Greta, do you accept that amendment? Okay, so a 4th point, you know, or other approaches that achieve, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Was that it?
That was it.
Are there other, Todd?
So I missed 30 seconds of it, but what Marion said is great about community and overall economic impact of community. But I mean, at the end of the day, okay, let's pretend this is just pure legislature. I don't even know why we need to have 3 points or 5 points. We should just empower the marketing group to go and start discussing on our behalf this overall broad issue, and they should come to us with whatever points they come with. Like, we're not. So I think this is all sort of a waste of time in that way, but I appreciate the discussion. But why are we talking about this? Let them go do their job, come to us, make recommendations. We can argue about it then, be like, well, what about this? What about that? Like we do in our normal process, and move on and get this thing done.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I thought about that, just what Todd said, but I swore myself to silence, so I didn't say it.
I'm gonna read
Joe,
that.
Todd,
Sorry, I missed that.
Todd, are you willing to have Joe take credit for your last comment?
Exactly.
Joe texted that to me, and I said it.
Nikki, I know you're not on, but when you do the minutes for this meeting, would you please say that Joe said that instead of
Yes.
Todd? We probably
Please.
broke the law, but are there other
You know they banned text chat because of me. So this is a true
Before we get to Deb's point, just in terms of what the EDC would like to see, are there any other things that we should add? Recognizing, by the way, that these are not,
And all.
yeah, I mean, right, they're gonna work on,
Yeah.
if other things come up and so forth, I want, yeah. Are there any other things that we want to add to this page before we give it to them? Okay, let's just turn to Deb's comment now for a minute. Deb, the title of this page is in effect, what does the EDC want to achieve?
Oh,
And I
didn't
think-
see the title.
Well, no, it isn't, I'm just saying.
Oh.
That's the purpose of this page.
Okay, got it.
There's no question that in order to make progress, a page is gonna need to be put together. That's the page you're suggesting. I'm just proposing.
Yeah.
That given who's here at the meeting, given how much time we have, and given what authority we have versus the authority that the chamber has, that we let that bringing together of the two sides happen in the marketing group rather than happening here tonight. Partly because Beth is here alone, Jennifer isn't here, and the board isn't here. And so for them to articulate their complete set of needs and to integrate it and create a document that would then follow would be, I think, unfair actually to the chamber. But they will, the first thing they'll do is they'll have their page and we'll have our page and they'll share it and.
I'm fine. I didn't get the assignment.
Okay.
I get what we're
Got it.
doing.
Okay. All right. All right. So if that's the case, I don't even know that we need to have a motion. It's
Yeah.
just that we've got folks on the marketing group. And by the way, I hesitate to bring this up, but I'm doing it on purpose because it's slightly coercive. Given your marketing background, it would not violate the open meeting law if three of you, if you wanted to join in the marketing group. So advise that you can talk about that offline with Marion and Greta. Happy to, but it's a group of that, and then Jeff Kahn is on it as a member of the community, and Beth and a couple of other people. So happy to. Okay, great.
And
All
just remember that Marion does all the work, not Greta, as
Right.
we right.
Marion and Joe,
Yeah.
Marion and Joe are really doing all the heavy lifting. All right.
I want that in a minute.
So just briefly, by the way, and this begins to give some sense, Deb, of where you're heading, of where they will be heading.
Yeah, I see.
Jennifer Vincent put together, in some sense, her version, not even their version, but it's really her version. She has an integral member of it, and very aware of the chamber's needs and so forth. You know, this is the sort of list that she put together. In the overall objective, the wording is basically the same. So we're aligned at that level, or at least with Jennifer we are. And then some of the things that she emphasized that we didn't are things like security, privacy, ADA compliance, some technical requirements, which we have now and which is important to the marketing group to maintain permission-based use and so forth. Enhancements, we agree that the events calendar needs to be enhanced. There's a whole discussion about hosting platform. Her view is different than Jennifer's. I mean, not necessarily, but she's pointing out some of the advantages of Drupal. And then some other things, you know, e-commerce, banner ads, things of that sort. So the lists are being formed and we'll come together and we'll let that group do their work. Before we leave this point, I just want to raise, I would like to give one other piece of guidance to the marketing group, or at least to our members of the marketing group, although I don't think Beth would disagree with this. We have signed a 6-month hosting maintenance agreement that expires in end of September. It's now the beginning of June, July, August, September. We have 4 months. In theory, we could get this done in 4 months. Well, sorry, in theory, we could get agreement on this in 4 months.
Yeah.
We can't build a new website in 4 months.
Right.
But we can't do this and build a new website in 4 months or improve the current website, whatever it is we're going to do. And so we've been waiting a long time to have these discussions. That as you can see, there are important issues that are important to our partner and to us and to the community, you know, the local economy. I don't think it's a good idea to allow that September deadline to force us to come to a decision by that to a decision that can be implemented by September 30th. rather than a better decision that might not, I don't want to make the September 30th deadline a requirement for the solutions we come up with. And so that means potentially that we're going to spend another $6,000 to continue to host. Now, we would have to spend some money to run the website anyway, so it's not, we're not going to,
$6,000 for how long?
for 6 months.
But I feel like we need to implement a sense of urgency here. Like, we've got to make a decision
We're
in
not
less than 4 months.
Well,
Greta has her hand up, John.
Greta, and then Beth.
So what I was gonna say is that we don't have, it's easy for us to continue on with the hosting. There will be other options for us to not continue another contract with Origin, who does our maintenance. It would be easy, or not easy, it's doable for us to find someone else to continue the maintenance for a couple months if need be.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I just wanted to make sure that we have enough time to come up, there's going to be some contentious issues. We've avoided tackling this because of the potentially contentious issues. We're not doing that anymore. So I want to make sure that we have, both organizations have the time to kind of deal with this.
Right, and I think, and I'm only speaking for the board, and we've presented this to them. But, it may take a little longer. It may take over 4 months. This site, which I know people don't like, was created by a group of marketing professionals that included the marketing professional for Simon Pierce, for the Woodstock Inn and Resort. There was another person. Anyway, so this site, which is now 6 years old, so I understand the age, but there are things about it that, what?
But then that,
It's really not.
yeah. So it was done.
2018, between 17 and 18.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, so we're looking forward to it, and I think that we all understand that things have to be done. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater right this minute, because it is a beautiful site that people that are my contemporaries in my professional life ask how it got done. It was a $60,000 site plus at that time, so we need to consider that.
John, if need be, do we have $6,000?
Yes.
So what's the problem?
Well, sorry, we said we have it. I mean, we will eventually have it.
Yeah, it's not unfortunate.
Sorry.
If it needs to be.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't, there have been some comments in the past that might have been interpreted as we need to have an answer by September 30th.
Oh,
And what I think we need to do is we need to have a sense of action and come up with the best solution.
I think what we need to have is it done right. If it takes a little longer than 4 months and we've got $6,000, so be it.
That was sort of my point. And it sounds like it'll be less than that. Deb?
This is a question for Jess, which is, given the array of issues that we have to deal with, there are incremental things that we can do in the meantime that will go hand in hand with the work that you're doing online, that will give people a better experience as far as events and things like that? Yes, or I mean, you're already doing that.
I'm not experienced in Drupal. Any changes that need to be made to the website, we have to pay Origin to do. And I don't recommend that we do that, because I don't think we should stay on a Drupal platform, but
Right,
that's just
but
my
updating.
opinion.
But just updating and making it.
Yeah, the
you know,
content.
The content.
Yeah, I'm updating the content regularly.
Right. Okay, so I just think that,
We're not standing still.
right.
Right.
There will be incremental.
All right.
I just want to make a quick comment to what Beth said, and I think it's really important. We probably all know this, but it's just the internet changes fast, and it's changing faster all the time. So these comments that we're sort of flippantly saying, oh, the website is terrible, and I think we say that, but with respect to the fact that the world around it has changed really fast, and it's not like we're saying somebody did a terrible job, or the people who.
No.
I just want to kind of say that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments on this topic? No, okay, all right, let's just finish up then with updates from tourism, and I'll just put this one page up. Miraculously, so the traffic and safety group has a brief update. Are there any other updates that we want to have tonight? Let's just figure out.
Larry
Yeah,
has
you-
an update for us, and Jeffrey's been added as the community member for our group.
For parking and bathrooms?
Yes, the most important things on this list. Absolutely. Yep. We matter. We
Yeah.
matter.
I have like a 1-minute update. on
Okay,
that.
wait a minute, add Jeffrey to bathrooms
And parking.
and parking, sorry. And Marion, which one are you?
Info.
Info and services. Okay. All right, any
Thank you.
others?
There was the thing that I would talk to you about, but I'm not until after we hear from Larry and Todd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, remind me to do it because I forgot what it was, but
And
just remind me. Okay. All right, so Marion, go ahead, you go first.
Yeah,
Sounds like,
mine is just a 1-minute to say.
That's fine, go ahead.
Say that, we have a group now, it's Beth, Lisa Lawler, Scott, who's on the call, and Judy Geiger from the Woodstock Inn. We met once, we tried to meet twice, but it kind of fell through, but we got as far as kind of doing more assessment of the problem and thinking about kind of trying to break down the information that needs to be conveyed into static and dynamic information. So sort of things that might be more suitable to an internet solution versus things that would be more suitable to a static sign. And that's kind of as far as we got.
And kind of what we had, what
Yeah.
we're doing now and what we're.
Exactly, right.
excellent.
Move forward.
That sounds like a very good framework. Just a quick reaction from
Okay.
someone who wasn't involved.
That's it as far as.
Okay, Larry?
Well, we have a status report. I suppose I could have put that online. Just briefly, in terms of parking, we've been trying to identify current parking situations. Also, we are mindful that there are a number of spaces within walking distance of downtown that are underutilized. We're trying to identify those. A lot of this comes up with or relates to better signage, telling people where they can park, parking for free. There are a number of places that we don't feel are readily known, or certainly if somebody's coming into town, they're not going to know about for parking. A lot of those are within walking distance, or most of these that we've looked at are within walking distance of downtown. I'm just jumping through. A new stress on parking is, maybe you mentioned this, but the Windsor County Courthouse based in White River Junction is moving to Woodstock while the White River Junction Courthouse is being renovated. That is going to put a lot of pressure on the green, especially if I don't know what the relationship, what the arrangement is, but when court is in session, even now, they put, the paper bags over all the parking meters. Nobody can park there except for people associated with the doings of the court. This is going to increase substantially, and I would guess for I don't know, but probably a couple of years.
What does that
We
sound?
looked into this idea of a trolley to access more remote parking possibilities. It turns out that Matt Powers from the History Center has done a lot of looking into this. He's given us a lot of information, places that you can buy the trolleys, that kind of thing. But basically, that's such a big issue. We would be delighted to have somebody take it on and come to the EDC or to our subgroup with a recommendation, but this involves finding a trolley, buying it or renting it, finding people to run it, people, the licensed drivers. There's a whole lot of issues that I don't, our subgroup doesn't think that's really something for us to do. We would certainly support someone who wants to take this on, but it's a huge issue. And you know, we've talked about this in the past, to what extent the EDC is supposed to come up with the details on this versus looking at someone coming in and making a good recommendation. And it seems like a great idea, and there has been support for it in the past, and it's just, I would think, kind of beyond what we can do. An ideal one of us that we've thought about would be to lease the underutilized History Center parking lot. That's something that can be discussed. I know it's been discussed before. We haven't really pushed as far as we might with that. Several comments from residents urged the removal of the parking meters, but we understand that there's not much interest in that from the village trustees, so we haven't really pursued it much. In terms of bathrooms, we have not come up with any information that the chamber's facility is inadequate, except during really high periods like wassail, foliage, and special events. But apparently, despite our best efforts, people still don't know how to get there. So again, more signage. The need for a bathroom facility at the east end, again, would that be just in summer? We can't see any putting in a permanent building or that kind of thing is, we think, is well beyond any reasonable expectation. Porta potties are certainly a possibility. I've actually contacted some companies that have those impressive porta potties that you see at weddings or whatever, where you step up, they're beautiful thing, but they're extremely expensive. So we're not thinking that's a great thing. There is on the east end, a neighboring owner has suggested that they might be interested in maybe having some facilities placed on their property. So that's certainly something we could pursue. So, and the group is just the three of us, Todd, Jeff Kahn, and myself. So anybody else who wants to join, they're very welcome. Anybody who wants to run the idea of the trolleys, that's a whole issue that has a lot of ramifications, and I'd be delighted if someone wanted to take that on. And certainly we would support funding it. That's it.
Well
Larry,
said, Larry. I think just one thing to add is that, with the Farmer and the Bell granting of, moving forward, which I think is awesome. We also, I feel like, we haven't talked about it as a group yet, but I feel like that, there might be even more of a situation, but we don't know what that's going to look like until 2025. So that could be eating up parking or not, depending. Hopefully it does, and they're successful more than their dreams, right? But I think that this will be something that needs to be addressed in a big way. And as you enter town, if there's a lot of congestion coming from down from my Tassville toward Route 4 into the village center, I think that, like Larry said, if people are out there and interested in running a trolley business, I think it would be fantastic if they could come to us with some sort of proposal so we can look into that. It's not going to be a problem that's going to go away anytime soon, and it will only be a larger problem as more businesses get more and more success, which is what we hope happens.
John, I have a question.
Joe? Yeah.
When is the renovations due to begin at the courthouse? When are we gonna get into this real problem with not enough space?
This fall.
This fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna happen to start this summer, but the problems are really gonna head in this fall, Joe.
So-
Weekdays in the fall.
Yeah, so this summer is when they're gonna start the renovations, is that it? And when we're gonna get impacted by their parking situation, is that it?
It'll start in the summer, yes.
Okay,
We've
Okay.
actually already given up the parking lot behind there. They are renting it.
Yeah,
from the town, from the village, and
Yeah.
they're paying for that. They're paying $41,000. But it is going to impact the green negatively during our busy
Yeah.
seasons. There's no question
I just
about it.
didn't know when that was gonna start, that's all.
Greta?
What I wanted to add was about bathrooms. I know that Pentangle has porta potties at East End Park for all of July and August for their Music on the River series. And I can get information from Alita about how much that's costing them, because we could just extend it for September, October, and that might just make it a lot more doable to get more food trucks and all that and more activity down there.
So I should.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those things where the groups kind of go over each other. And so with the crowds, I've been talking with Ben Jervy, and it sounds like you guys have too. So I want to make sure that we don't need to double up, but I have some information that I could either hand over or continue to talk, because I've been talking with Ben about those larger porta potties, about how to get it at a cheaper cost and be able to move them for different events, and his willingness to be paying for hooking it up to sewage and water. And so I have some prices around that, because the idea was, if there is a nicer looking facility that is still movable, that we actually own, and that he could then get in some of those food trucks, you're creating a whole environment down there where people are eating and peeing and parking. Awesome. And then if you get your trolley in, voila, Bob's your uncle. So I want to get you that information and see if that's helpful, because there's a couple of companies that we've contacted and found out information, and he's looking into the costs of the sewage and the placement and all of that. So I can get that to
Yeah, thank you. Now I remember.
Yeah,
That you were
so-
researching, right?
that sounds like it's the same type of thing that Larry
Yeah,
was talking.
Joe?
I'm just a crazy idea is, could it have been possible for the town to say to the courthouse, no, I'm sorry, we just don't have room for you here? Is that possible?
It's already been done.
No, why wouldn't that, Jeff? Jeff is shaking his head no.
No, we weren't able to say no. It had to do with the court system.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of parking. It's not public, but at John Spector's house.
Yeah, just to give you an idea though, when they have a
He
jury
could bring a
selection,
rickshaw, and then he could do the rickshaw into town. I think that's a great idea. Even more.
So, I just want to make a general comment, and I think it applies to both bathrooms and the shuttle. I would, and I'm sensitive, Larry, to your point about the scope of work needed to implement the plan. I'll come to that in a minute. But I think in all of these situations, all of these issues that we're dealing with, I hope that the groups will put forward a big aggressive proposals as well as smaller, perhaps more practical proposals. These are big issues, and I think it may be worthwhile for the EDC to spend, several $100,000 to fix some of these big things. I think, by the way, it may not be worth it, but I don't think we should make assumptions at this stage about what is affordable or isn't, or at least, within reason. $1 million or $10 million isn't affordable, but six-figure investments over time would be. I'm not advocating for that. Now to the point though, Larry, about the shuttle, I accept as very good thinking the fact that the EDC cannot create a business plan and a design of a business to run a shuttle. We certainly can't run a shuttle ourselves and so forth. But parking is a huge problem and is unimaginably expensive to fix, except with a shuttle. I think I once did a calculation to build a parking lot in the center of town, which would have to be underground, would cost order of magnitude about $30 million. Right.
That sounds cheap.
So, and I think it's really important to understand, we do not have in any way a shortage of parking. We have a surplus of parking. We have a shortage of access to parking. And I've told you all this about how many parking spaces there are empty.
Oh, tell them again, Jim.
So I think, Larry, it would be good if the group could figure out a way to take a next step. And we can take this offline, but if you could come back and say, you know, either, you know, we think a shuttle services won't solve any problem. Fair enough, then we shouldn't pursue it further. Or we think it'll cost between, you know, $40,000 and $120,000 a year, you know, 3x. We don't know how to do it. We don't know who can do it, but that's kind of roughly what it costs. And then the EDC can decide, do we want to pursue that further or not? And pursuing it further doesn't mean asking you and Todd and Jeffrey to do the next level work. It might be soliciting bids. It might be going to advanced transit, you know, whatever. I would have to figure it out. But with respect to parking, other than signage, which I think is a really good idea and can improve things a lot. And maybe we should just do that first before we get to the shuttle. But I think I hope that there's something that you can do to give us a kind of a rough estimate.
John, we hear you. We'll look at it.
Okay.
We got
all right. If that's possible. If not, then
we got it. We got you.
Okay.
We're getting to it. Greta's
Right.
hands up.
Beth and then Greta.
I just wanted to remind you that Two Rivers Ottaquiche Regional Planning Commission is a partner in all of our towns, and they facilitated the shuttle from, I don't know when it was, 2010, I don't remember when it was, but they were the people that had access to the national park and transportation money, et cetera. So that seems like an opportunity to look into.
Thank you. Greta?
I was just gonna add, yeah, the Woodstock Planning Commission has been doing a lot of work on parking as well, and that might be a good place to collaborate, or you know, just make sure that we're working together with them.
John, can I make one more comment?
I just want to say, having said this, I understand there's only 3 people here. They're volunteers. They've got other stuff to do.
Yeah.
If what I'm suggesting is impractical, then you'll limit it to what's practical. So, Joe?
I'm just sitting there thinking and I'm saying, listen to what is being said here. We are a town of about 3,000 to 3,500 people, and we're talking about a $30 million parking garage, or spending 6 figures on some kind of parking solution. I mean, there's got to be a better way. I would hope to think, but
There's the 3 people to say.
yeah, I know. But it does not sound a little bit, what's wrong with this picture kind of thing? It does to me. Anyway.
Okay.
You go for it, you guys.
I'm missing parking. Just traffic and safety. That's the last one, right? That's me.
Yeah.
Was there any others? Did we miss any others?
Food, garage, parking, bathrooms, traffic.
Yeah. No, I think it's okay. So leaving us, so we have not met as a group. We have exchanged emails. This morning, I spent an hour with Joe Swanson and David Green to talk about traffic and safety issues as it relates to peak periods and so forth. And so the 3 of us have not, so what I'm proposing here is not anything that we're proposing. I'm just telling you what would be possible, and if we decided to propose it. But we have working on it. And I know Jeff and I have just sort of shared an email and so forth that he's in favor of some of this and maybe not in favor of some of this, and we haven't even debated it well. So I'm just going to sort of tell you what's physically possible. If you remember the two suggestions that came up at the brainstorming session in November from the community was to have a kind of a police presence in the center of town to help manage traffic and pedestrian traffic, car traffic and pedestrian traffic, and to close the covered bridge and the little roads on either side in order, because a lot of people step out into the road. That's where some number of traffic, annoyances occur. The bottom line is that both of those things are possible. That it probably is not practically possible to have police. There are probably 3 or 4 places in the downtown core which Joe Swanson thinks are the places where there could be difficulties, what he's most concerned about in terms of where pedestrians are at risk and so forth. And that would be, it doesn't matter where they are, there's 3 or 4 of them, between the west end of the Green and Trebu Park, let's put it that way. And it's probably not practical to have those staff, and the times that he thinks the crowds are greatest is between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. on weekends. So you've got 8 weekends and 4 hours a day in 3 or 4 places. It's not feasible practically to staff that with police officers. There aren't enough police officers. It's not practical to borrow police officers from other towns. They don't have them. It is practical to recruit traffic, what do they call? What is it? Crossing guards. They would be less expensive. We could recruit more of them. They can be equipped with police radios, which Jeffrey knows better than I do, cost an absolute fortune. And you could have 1 police officer on foot available to service them from 11 to 3. And if we did all of that for 8 weekends with 4 crossing guards and some radios, it would cost $15,000. Now, whether we should do it or not is another question. Whether we should do it for 8 weeks is a question. We could try it for 1 weekend. It would cost us $2,000 or something like that. Anyway, it's possible to have a kind of a pedestrian / auto.
Why are we having this? Have we had accidents? People getting hurt?
We're not proposing. The idea came up in November.
Yeah.
And I'm simply reporting that the idea is possible and what it would cost. I'm not saying that we should do it.
What about the need? Is there really a need for it?
Joe, was about traffic flow. So like right now, every time a person crosses, the whole
everything
Yeah,
thing
everything gets stopped.
Whereas it would be paused, let a bunch of people go, let a bunch of cars.
There's also some people think there are safety issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's also in the survey identified significant concerns on the part of residents. Whether those are valid or not, it's a different question, but they certainly are felt. And again, I'm not advocating this. The first question if we wanted to address the problem the way some people suggested we address it, could we?
So the bottom line was have crossing guard there, stopping people from using the crosswalk while they allow traffic, which I think is a good idea, while they allow traffic to go through.
And then
pause and let the people cross. Yeah.
Safety
Sure.
and
I mean,
efficiency.
just someone making a left turn heading toward Killington, toward the Green, at the
East end of the Green.
is a disaster, right? The whole
That's one of the areas that
Yeah.
Joe Swanson identified as a safety issue because people are looking to the right and the crosswalks to the left.
Right.
So anyway, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just telling you that step 1 was, is it possible? The answer is yes, and it's organizable. Now we have to decide,
$15,000.
well, and whether or not there's a need and so forth. Again, and we haven't met to discuss that. The second thing is closing off the covered bridge, and that is also possible. It's our road. We're allowed to do it. There is no effect on emergency. The concern is, well, police car can't get through their fire truck or an ambulance, but they don't use those routes anyway. In fact, they're instructed not to. So neither of them has any concern about that. So again, if we wanted to close that off, we could, if we decided to. Anyway, that's where we are. So
When we were first talking about the crosswalks, we were talking about it, when I mentioned the thing about having a community members. So it's part of also the information, having a community member like you do at a kid's school, that it's a volunteer position, it's part of welcoming, it could be part of the information as opposed to the cost. So I just want to put out that 15,000 might be significantly less if there's a trained volunteer, you know, welcome to our community from the community for crosswalks, like in
Great.
schools. And the other one is just recently a wish list for me, and especially if you're going to cut off the middle bridge. River Street is a NASCAR race, not just on the weekend that there was a NASCAR race going through River Street. And I think if you're going to cut that off and River Street continues to be what it is, that we should talk about having two speed bumps on River Street.
Didn't that speed sign slow them down off that?
No, there's
a question.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm just saying if you're going to put more traffic on it, I'm curious as to what that would do to the flow. But there's a lot of traffic on it.
I think that's V-Trans stuff when you get into that, but Jeffrey would know better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right, so any comments on any of the tourism work?
Yeah, I just want to say that Larry and Jeffrey clearly did more work than you, John. So kudos to them. Yeah, this is great. Glad to be a part of that group.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay. If there's no other business, I think we are done with our agenda.
Oh, great.
All right. Is there any other business
you-
to come before the EDC tonight?
Game starts at 8:30.
All right, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Say what game?
Someone from here, Dan, you can make your first motion.
I will
Hey.
so move to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
The first game. in the
Thanks,
NBA.
everybody.
Bye,
job.
thank you.
Okay. Don't forget, I'm going to be up all 2 months. So call me. Okay, friends. Thank you.